Hester, and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, this is the second time I'm asking you this because the first stream it did fail. But how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, we had some technical issues. You might be able to notice that I'm in a different background to where I was before. I thought moving house and the broadband being sorted, it'd be fine. We've had some problems, so I've moved into the living room, which hopefully you can see me a lot clearer, and we won't drop out this time. It's mental. I will get it sorted out for the next one. We're basically, for some reason, the Wi-Fi light's incredibly quick in the living room, but my bedroom, which is downstairs and like a 10-second walk, it's terrible in there. So we'll get that sorted. We've been sent like a booster thing. It's just not working properly. So I'm going to give them a ring in the morning. But we've got a bit of a nicer background. There's actually some stuff behind me. Anyone that's seen the film Raging Bull, you'll recognise.
Yeah, mate. It's very cultured.
Yeah,
it's
mate.
Very cultured. Have you seen the film Raging Bull?
Yeah, have you?
No, but it's Scorsese, De Niro, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The elite combo.
I do need to watch it. I do love a Scorsese film. Wolf of Wall Street for specific reasons.
Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Definitely not Margot Robbie either.
Nah.
Yeah, I just love the acting.
Yeah.
So we are going to cover the topics we covered in the first live stream. It cut out with the first 10 minutes. But before we begin, we need to talk about the 5-year anniversary of Spurs' famous night in Amsterdam. What are your memories from that night? And do you reckon we'll feel those types of emotion again in the near future?
Yeah, I think we will. That definitely was where things kind of peaked, wasn't it? As a Spurs fan,
100%.
It's all kind of been a little bit downhill with like little mini phases of like, oh, this will be fine. This is great. Like, we've had like little moments where you think we're on the way back there. And let's be honest, like we got our fair bit of luck on the way to that final. But we deserved that luck for all the shit that we've had before, where we've had amazing teams and come so close. That team was kind of on its last legs in those last few months of the season, wasn't it? Really, like
we
were saying before, we were all crying our eyes out because Moussa Sissoko was missing the second leg at the Etihad as much as Harry Kane was. Do you know, it was like that.
Yeah,
Sissoko becomes so important, and we were kind of down to the bare bones. And that season was really petering towards a bit of a disastrous conclusion in the league, where our Champions League run went down to the final day, and it was only really the fact that Arsenal needed like a massive goal swing that we finished above them. We were above them like the whole way, but it was a potential that it could turn.
Drew to Everton on the last day, didn't we? Ericsson's got a free kick.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It was a really weird atmosphere, that, because it was like we knew that we'd probably get top four, because it was like we needed to lose, and then Arsenal needed to win by like something crazy to leapfrog us. And we drew and they won. But all the Everton fans were singing, we're all having a party.
Of course. Yeah.
Maybe a hint to what it's going to be on Tuesday, but the other way around. But yeah, man, it was a strange old run to that semi-final. But the memories of the night, I was in the Beehive in Tottenham, which I'm sure a lot of people will know. And if anybody who is listening to this before the Burnley game, I know we're recording it on Friday night, but hopefully a lot of this podcast is evergreen. We're going to be talking about more than just the game, so do stick around. That's where I'll be probably drinking tomorrow, and that's where I was for the quarterfinal against City, and that's where I was for the semi-final. And it was a weird day, because we kind of went into it, even though we were only 1-0 down, and we didn't play too badly in the first leg. Like Ajax were much better team, and they should have won more than 1-0. We gave a decent account of ourselves, but we had no Harry Kane. I'm pretty sure we had no Son as well in the first leg. I know we had Sonny was back for the second game, but he wasn't available for the first leg. And so we had a lot of injuries. Sissoko made it back. Obviously, Vertonghen was in the wall in the first leg. So kind of, I remember going into the game just thinking, well, if this is it, then we had a good run and we got to a Champions League semi-final when we nearly didn't get out of the group. Like, it was kind of like that. That was sort of my attitude going into it, really.
Yeah.
But what happened after that was pretty indescribable. And I think it just goes to show that, we didn't win that final. We were robbed really in the first kind of 30 seconds of it. But you will never... People, like I said, I made a video about it earlier in the week when it was actually the anniversary, and it was 5 years since that day when Mora the kind of miracle in Amsterdam and
yeah.
tears and all this kind of stuff, which you look back at now, and I know it's supposed to hate Poch, but that gives me goosebumps watching that interview and watching him run on the pitch because, and it's kind of to be in a final. He said, "I want to thank my family." I was crying. I was just like, that makes me want to cry watching that interview, and it's just like so powerful. And there was so much emotion that kind of went into it. We were, like I said, we were kind of down to the bare bones. Really, it'd been a long old season. We nearly didn't get out of the group. We had a weird run to the final where things that weren't Spursy were happening to us. That win at the Etihad, that disallowed offside goal, the Llorente going in off his arse, like those things don't happen to Spurs, and it was all happening to Spurs in one Champions League campaign, and it was just like, holy shit, like, and that's why, like, I think I didn't feel confident going into the second leg, but I wasn't nervous, and I wasn't upset. I was like, let's see what happens, and if we get an early goal, then fucking hell, because obviously away goals were still. Thing actually would have made it 1-1, wouldn't it? But anyway, like I was going into it like wasn't feeling that much pressure, and I think because of the stuff that had happened, you sort of in the back of your mind like maybe something will happen again, and it happened again times 10. Really, like we weren't lucky in that game. Like we got lucky in the Etihad, we got lucky there, and we got a bit lucky in the group stage maybe, but we weren't lucky in Amsterdam. Like a few things went our way, like hit the post and that, but when that spell of when we got back into the game and we equalised, we were all over them. Like we were absolutely all over them.
Yeah.
We didn't really lay a glove on them in the first leg, did we? Like we did, like I said, we did okay. We fought with a bit of a ragbag kind of team, but we didn't really lay a glove on them. Whereas there was a period in that second half where we were all over them.
Yeah. I mean, with that first De Ligt goal, that header, it didn't mean anything because of the away goals. We knew we had to go there and score 2 anyways. So I remember when that went in, it was like, okay, sorry.
No, I was going to say, we needed to win the game. We would have needed to score 2.
Yeah, exactly. We needed to score 2 regardless. So we were just like, when we conceded that, we were like, okay. When that Ziyech goal went in, we were like, oh, fuck.
That was the killer. Yeah.
That was the killer, and it really felt like, wow, this team. And how mad is it? The amount of players in that Ajax team, all wonder kids, all star boys. They're like fallen star boys, aren't they? Even like Ten Hag and Nana. They're fucking shit now. And who would have known? Actually, Ajax and Spurs both kind of went into a bit of like downfall for the next 5 years. Who would have known? Ajax not even qualifying for the Champions League or anything like that. This season, and obviously Spurs not looking likely this season either, and we haven't really hit the heights that we were expected to hit at all. We just went into disarray. Same with Ajax. But it looks like Spurs have tried to recreate that third kit with the leaks that have come out today about our third kit. It looks like we've tried to go for that sort of look, but on steroids, I think. What do you think? Because you like it. You texted me saying you actually like this third kit.
Yeah, I was like, when we were putting together the running order for the pod, it was like, what can we talk about? And it was like, oh, fucking, literally the third kit just landed on our lap. And it was like, oh, we'll talk about that. I really like it. I sent it to Will. I was like, oh, I really like it. And Will literally texted me back saying, I think that's fucking grim. I was just like,
it gives me migraines.
Yeah, I've got people saying it looks like mold.
Yeah, when I saw that, I couldn't understand. Literally. But also, why the fuck is the night tick upside down or whatever it is?
Night
Stevie Wonder stuck it on.
Yeah, it's been on a bender.
Terrible. Just leave it how it is.
Yeah, it's been on a bender and the night tick. It's been out all night. But I
really like it.
Do you know what I'm disappointed in? I'm disappointed in the away kit updated leak. I think that's terrible.
I don't know if I've seen that.
We didn't really talk about it because the away kit was like that stripy blue one.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Then they fucked it up by making it look like a pair of pajamas.
Yeah,
like bed sheets or like boxer shorts. Like it's just, I'm sure it'll look alright on the players. And like with this one, like anyone who doesn't like it, and I'm not just forcing people to like it because I do, but I'm sure like when the actual kit comes out, like people will, and like when they do the shoot and all that.
Yeah, it will look alright.
But you know what? I would say to me with Spurs kits, he's like Liverpool have already released their home kit for next year. Right? We never get that. When do we ever like release our kit like at the end of the season and like, oh, we'll wear it for like the last game or something? That never happens with Spurs, I think.
No, I don't. I can see I can see the memes as well coming out next season when we're wearing a pajama kit and our defenders start sleeping, and it's like sleeping at the back or going to bed or whatever it is. Yeah, I can see that. But I don't know. I really like the home kit. I really like it, and
Yeah, it's
I
grown on
see
me.
us winning the Europa League in it. But the away kits, I feel like I don't know. I just feel it looks like the Nike team, the kit making team, just fucking like dropped acid and started getting creative.
It's got creative.
Yeah, it's like, let's turn the Nike tick like to the side a little bit. I think it looks shit. I really think it looks bad. But like you said, it might look good on the players.
Yeah, they've been on like a Nike work do, and it's like the after like in someone's kitchen. It's like, oh fuck, man, we've got the deadline for the Spurs third kit tomorrow, man. Oh, what are we gonna fucking do? Do you know what we could fucking do? We could turn the fucking Nike thing like upside down.
That looks fucking sick. Everyone's like, "Oh, what?" That's
what do you think, Johnny? Like, what did you say? I think that look good, yeah. But it's not
I don't think it looks good.
I think they've all got the. I think all the third kits. Like you remember, like when we had that Nike third kit, the light blue one. Do you remember the one that like AJ Tracy like?
Like you stay here because I was planning on wearing.
Oh yeah.
I was planning on wearing that same one.
Right
yeah. I was, but I didn't like the lighting.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I've got that kit. That is a nice kit.
It was
nice. Like, they did that with the Nike thing. Like all of the teams had it. I think it's like they're going for a similar thing with this.
Yeah,
I quite like it. I think it's better than the original league of this third kit because what I could never get my head around when our kits were getting leaked, like, was that the light we knew what colours they were going to be. Like we knew it was obviously going to be white and blue, and then we knew the away kit was going to be light blue. We've known that for months.
Yeah,
and we knew the away kit was going to be light green. But the leaks that were coming out, it was like the light blue is really light and the light green is really light. So it's like, what's the point? You haven't got to change kit.
No, so exactly.
It makes sense that it was always going to be a little bit different when it actually came about. So I think it's better that it's darker. But it's very similar to like the Ajax kit. 5 years like that. I love that kit. That was quality, and I know it's got like a moment attached to it. But I did think it was really nice. Like it had that like map of London or something across like North London.
It looked quality in Europe. It looked really good in Europe. I remember when it dropped. That we played the first game against Newcastle in it, and Dele Alli had that in it.
That was bizarre, because I went to that game up in Newcastle, and it literally dropped in the morning. It was so
weird. Of course it did. I remember that.
Me and my mate George, who I go to all the away games with, we got a funny story about that night. And never again, because we went to Newcastle away this season and we did it fucking properly and got a train and shit. We got the mega bus from Victoria, which cost us like a £10 return or something. So we left Victoria at like 11:45 the night before for a 12:30 kickoff. Went through the night, got to Newcastle at like 6:30 in the morning. Obviously, there's no boozers open, so we sat in Costa Coffee for like 2.5 hours.
Just pinging off caffeine.
Yeah, literally like, do you think Dele Alli's going to score today? And literally, I remember walking to the ground, or like walking near the ground. It was like Spurs tweeted being like, "This is our new third kit, and we're going to wear it today." It was like, what?
Yeah,
it was really bizarre.
I forgot about that actually.
Even in them days, like you used to get kit leaks and stuff like that. But it's nowhere near like it is now. Like that Footy Headlines account, that they're just mock-ups, but like they know what the colours are going to be. All the colours are always spot on, but I like it. And yeah, it's a hark back to that Ajax night, which was a special night. Like I was talking about it the other day, and we were talking about the first time around on this, where it's like Arsenal fans and that will try and banter you for not winning that night. We're not winning in Madrid, but and you talk about the people that you got close around you and the stories that Sam Cornish put a brilliant thing out on Twitter that was like, what was your story from that night of the Ajax game? And like some of the replies to it, go and find his tweet. Some of the replies to it are golden. Some people's responses. It's just unbelievable. And like that's what football's about. That's what football's about. It's being around your mate, being fucking mental. And I've been to a Champions League final with my old man who got me into supporting Spurs, and we didn't win, but we had a fucking brilliant weekend.
Yeah, it's the memories and relationship. That's what makes football so amazing. Like sharing moments with people that live
100%.
with you forever, and that you're always chasing those highs together. It's
Yeah,
not you're never alone in football. You're never ever alone in football.
no, mate, it's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. You're brothers with everyone that's there, and it's like you share that same experience with, however many people were in the stadium that night, like 5,000, 6,000 Spurs fans or whatever, that were all caged in and having the time of their lives when Pochettino was going over at the end and coming out an hour after kickoff, and we were in the pub until whatever time and just looking at people, and just that you have no idea who they are, and just thinking, how the fuck have we done this? Because like I said before, like, that's not Tottenham. It's not.
No.
It's not. These things usually go against us, where it's like, oh, we're 1-0 up from the first leg, we'll be all right. Oh, we've got another 2 goals. Oh, brilliant. And then all of a sudden we start shitting the bed and things go against us. But no, man, it was an unbelievable night that I'll never really forget that feeling. I mean, like I said, I don't remember that more of a third goal going in. I don't remember it. I literally cannot remember it. But I said it earlier, like so we was in the Beehive, and the Beehive put out like this on Twitter. They put out the security footage from the garden, from the security camera, like, on Twitter, and it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Just like people just losing their minds, and that feeling, you want to bottle that up, and you can remember that for the rest of your life. And it's not about winning, mate. If we'd have won that Champions League final, I don't think we'd be doing this podcast, because I don't think I'd ever have come back from Madrid.
Checked out, you would just been like retired. It'd be like Xabi Alonso picture where it's just like,
literally,
just like, fucking see you later. It's never gonna get better than this. Like, see you later.
Spurs winning the Champions League, how would it have got better than that? And I'm 26, you're 20. We're going to chase that feeling for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Would you get relegated to watch the season after if we won the Champions League?
Yeah.
100%. Not even thinking about it.
100%. I'm going to liquidation.
What, in your body?
No, in the club. The club. Then we'd start, what was it, like FC Hotspur of Tottenham or whatever.
Yeah.
We go again.
It's like a football manager.
It's not getting better than that.
The thing is, even when we do win, Spurs, we'd make it so fucking difficult for ourselves. It's just typical Spurs. If we were going to win, it was always going to be like that. It was amazing. So, massive weekend surrounding Spurs in a couple of ways. But one of the reasons is this could be our chance to win our first 3 points in our first game in 5. Yeah. How likely is it that we'll get our first win, our first 3 points in 5 games?
Mate, if we can't beat Burnley, then we got problems. Ange, you got to go, really, surely.
Got to go. That's fucking depth.
Even though after a 4-2 battering at Anfield, I think I'm on the biggest Ange dopamine high that I think I've been on in months.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, me too.
I can't believe
Love
him. This fucking man from Australia has got me by the balls. He's literally like, this is my balls, and he's just got me there. And he's just,
stop it there.
Some of the stuff that's been coming out of his mouth. I think mic thing's going. Hang on.
Your balls?
My balls have gone into my stomach. My mic thing's about to drop. I think we're good. No, he's
about to drop. Stay tuned.
Yeah, one day, mate. No, he's literally got me by the fucking balls. I don't know if did you see the interview that he did with we did with Opta Sport.
Yeah. So let's just skip to that and talk about it, because it was amazing, wasn't it? And everything he was saying, it was enough to make a grown man rock hard.
Yeah.
Where is on the running order?
It sounds so simple.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the thing. So it was he come out. And he's obviously asked by, was it Mark Schwarzer?
Or as my stepdad said earlier, Mark Schwarzenegger. It's like brilliant.
After Arnold. So he come out, the response was amazing. And he said, "This is the bit I love, mate. This is my purpose." And that's obviously related to the hard sort of situation we're going through at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's the complete antithesis of previous managers across the years. And so how does that make you feel? Go on. How does that make you feel?
Mate, it makes me feel amazing, because he enjoys it. He said, this is the bit I enjoy. Like, I've been here before. Look, he's won titles with Celtic and he's won titles wherever he's been, but he still had difficult patches. we haven't lost 4 games in a row since 2004, but we're in a much better place than we were then. These things can happen. Look, I remember, was it under Klopp a few years ago at home where Liverpool lost 7 home league games in a row or something in COVID? Like they lost. These things can happen, especially and that's a manager that is arguably the one of the greatest managers that we've seen in the Premier League ever. I know he's a bit of a cunt sometimes, but I'm a massive fan of Jurgen Klopp. Like I really like him, and I think he's one of the best. Like he is undoubtedly one of the best. But he had that moment. Losing, what was it? I might be wrong, but they lost like a lot of games at home in a row.
It's a psychological sport.
Exactly, and it's a lot to kind of. You've got a young dressing room there that have lost confidence in themselves a little bit, but he's not wavered. He's not lost confidence in himself. He knows it's in there. Like that, the gesture that he sort of made to the fans at the end of the game at Liverpool. Marcus Rashford
retweeted it, didn't he?
No, I think that was a joke. I literally, as soon as I saw that tweet, I went straight to Rashford's Instagram. It was like, surely not. But when he was like that, and then he was just like pointing there. There.
Follow your heart, mate.
Follow the heart. I was just like, I'll follow you everywhere. I'll literally. If Ange said, fucking, I don't know, jump off a building, I probably wouldn't do it, but I think about it because he's just so compelling in everything that he says. And he was talking about the difficulties that he had. Was it Central Coast Mariners that he managed before he was at Brisbane? I think maybe might be wrong. Or he was talking about Central Coast Mariners, but I don't really know why. Let me just double check that he did manage them.
They all are sort of like interlinked, don't they?
Yeah.
When you think of all his previous clubs.
He was talking about. Oh no, he was the manager of Central Coast Mariners. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
He was talking about it in the. Oh no, he wasn't.
Oh.
No, he wasn't. I don't know why he was talking about Central Coast Mariners.
Quality podcast in this.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell that we've had to re-record this.
Yeah, exactly.
To be clear, he managed Brisbane Roar and Melbourne Victory, and then Australia, and then Yokohama, and then South.
Yeah.
This is the backstory of Ange Postecoglou, and this is what we've got to this point where he's now said, "This is the bit I love." But no, he anything that he says that comes out of his mouth that you just feel like you can hold on to, and that's what's important. That, like we were talking about Poch, like in Ajax, and I know that he was reacting in an emotional sense to like what had just happened in front of his eyes. He wasn't building towards something, but you had that same thing with Poch, like throughout his Spurs career, where he said similar things about rebuilds and stuff like that. What did he say about like it's no good just having the beautiful furniture. It was like all good having a nice house, but you need a beautiful furniture. Yeah. So it's like it's Ange, that's kind of what he's kind of said in the last week or so about needing big changes, but he's excited to kind of lead us into this new direction. And they're quite similar in that sense. That I think Ange is a lot more obviously clearer in what he's trying to say. And I think what's nice about it is that I think you can tell sometimes that he's far more abrasive to the English media because it feels like they're trying to trip him up.
100%. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the biggest headlines. They're trying to make him trying to break him, basically.
Yeah, and they do it with everyone, but it's just that it's the classic English media thing. They build you up to knock down. They love it. They love to love Ange, and they love to hate him as well. Not to hate him, but just to make him
question him. Yeah, try and get him to maybe bite because he rarely does it. He's very good at
holding his tongue,
shutting people down. Yeah, and holding his tongue. Yeah,
but he's done a few. There's like I rewatched the interview earlier because I wanted to make a video on it, and I knew we'd be talking about it. And he's done like 3 or 4 with Optus throughout the season, sort of almost like a check-in and a sit-down. And I think a few of them have been with Mark Schwarzer. And you can tell that dialogue is just far more open and he can be that bit more expressive and be a little bit more relaxed and just be like, there's the cough goes away, the lack of eye contact goes away. Like, he's looking him in the eyes and saying, this is the bit I love, mate. And I feel like he's looking me in the eyes and saying it. And there are so many reasons to be positive. Like we've got to win tomorrow because if we don't win against Burnley, then even 5th is in serious doubt at this point with the sort of run that Newcastle are on. You feel like we're safe from Man United, but obviously depending on what happens.
They're fucking shit.
Exactly, and this is the thing as well. Like you listen to Ten Hag coming out on Monday after their game, and you listen to some of the stuff that he's been saying like throughout the season. And he backs himself. And that's good as a manager. You have to back yourself and back your style of play, but there's not the substance there to back it up. Like he's coming out, and it's almost like delusion. Whereas Ange is recognizing the difficulties, but saying, I'm going to make this right. Yeah. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to get there. And that's what you want. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't. But he's tried and he's stuck to his principles. And that's what matters. you have to have that element of dignity. You have to adapt, of course. Things will change over the course of time with Ange, whether that's style of play or whether that's system, formation, whatever. But what won't change is his principles, and that is the most important thing.
Exactly, and it's easy to follow. It's easy to believe in when people aren't like wavering on their principles, and it's and actually there's a little bit of resemblance. We're going to get into Vincent Company as well because there's a little bit of resemblance there. He's not wavering really, but
no.
And it's something to respect when you're, because I think there's a fear that you have to adapt and you have to, but because it's such a job. The manager's job is such an easily sackable job, isn't it? You get sacked all the time. So there's a fear of, fuck me, I've got to quickly change this. But I think it shows so much bravery saying, look, how long is my contract? By the end of my contract, I'll be achieving what I want to achieve, and this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to crack under pressure. It shows the fucking the ambition and the courage inside Ange, and which is why I still believe we'll get into a Company, but I still believe Company will be a fantastic manager in the future. And yeah, so but also it's amazing. You can see the players fully bought into this. We've lost 4 in a row. The fans ain't, obviously there's the instant match reaction. That's something on it. That's almost like a something to brush aside, and that's almost on its a lone thing.
Yeah.
But the sort of fallout from the 4 losses is that we're still behind Ange, and we're so excited to there's nothing to really play for now for the season. We've looked like we're going to get Europa League. I think everyone's come to terms with that, and we're now looking forward to the summer window, which we're going to get into later this episode. But yeah, the players look like they're so bought in. Romero, he was about what he was saying. Ange had a press conference today, and he was sort of reiterating the same sort of ideas of, I know this is really tough for the fans, but we're going to get through this. I'm rephrasing, but Romero retweeted it on Twitter, and it just shows the support he's getting from the dressing room and the fans. And to contrast, last year, Romero fell out of Conte because Conte was a dickhead. And he was fucking throwing his toys out the pram like a fucking whingy little baby. And that's not a leader. You don't look at that and think, oh, I'm following him.
Yeah, you don't want to follow him.
No, and I don't blame Romero for checking out again.
No.
And you can see how much he sort of relates to Ange and why actually, this is going off a tangent, but why I actually think Romero could be definitely future captain is he's almost Ange represented on the pitch, isn't he, Romero? The way he's brave and he takes risks but
no, 100%, mate. I just wanted to touch on that as well because you said about Conte, and I can't remember if we talked about this on Monday or not, but there have been a lot of people kind of comparing the things that Ange has been saying to over the last week in terms of like big changes to what Conte was saying this time, well, not this time last year, but like March last year when he got sacked after Southampton.
Yeah.
There are similar things there in terms of like things do need to change and I need new players basically.
Yeah.
But what he's not doing is throwing every single prick under the bus. That's exactly
what he's not. Yeah.
It's almost like I'm too good to be here and this is the history of Tottenham and all this kind of crap. Whereas like Ange how many times has Ange talked about like our past in glowing terms and said that, yes, look, we haven't won something in a while, but I want to be the person to do that. This is on me.
Yeah.
Deliver that to the fans. And you go back to the start of the season to when he was saying about what do you think constitutes a success for Spurs this season? He said, ask the fans at the end of the season. And the fact that we're talking about this, look, there's a silent majority shouting very loud on Twitter about people that want him out and all this kind of crap. It's not even worth listening to because
they can fuck off.
If you actually go to the games and go to the stadium, and I'm not saying that you have to, take that in, but look at the unwavering support that he had from that away end at Anfield. That will tell you all you need to know. I've been to a lot of away games this year, and everyone is fully behind him. That core fan base that make the noise and support the team home and away are fully behind Postecoglou. And that's what you pay attention to, not the fucking idiots on Twitter. It's not even worth entertaining the Ange out brigade because it's fucking nonsense, mate. It's absolute nonsense. But I couldn't be prouder to have him as my manager. And I feel like I know we've lost 4 games in a row, and I know it's because the sun's going to be out and that tomorrow. It's going to be a lovely day, but I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go to that tomorrow because it's like it'll be the last. Well, it's not the last home game, but they're doing. Did you notice they're doing the lap of honour?
For Burnley.
Tomorrow.
Really? Yeah, because Maybe that's saying.
It kind of makes sense in terms of like practical terms of like, isn't it like GCSE week next week and shit like that? So it's
of course.
There's kids going to the games and stuff like that. It's going to be late at night. Like it's sometimes a bit of a nightmare going home. I kind of get it, but Could you imagine the players having to do a lap of honour when we beat City?
What?
Like, fuck off.
No, what are you talking about? They'll be going, yes!
Yeah, if we look. No, if
you
we beat,
legends!
I meant to say if we beat.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
If we lost, I'd like,
yeah, we've just...
Emerson Royale scored an own goal. I'd be like, that's my player of the season right there.
You'd be like, Emerson Royale, can I have your T-shirt, please?
Yeah, literally.
With a little banner.
Speaking of which, there's actually been a couple of things that have come out while we've been recording.
Oh, yeah.
Mickey van der Ven has been named as the Supporters Club Player of the Season.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah.
Mickey van der Ven. Well, we'll talk about that because we're going to touch on Destiny Udogie. But yeah, I've just seen that as well. Alistair Gold. I just saw Alistair Gold retweet it. I've got his notifications turned on.
Yeah.
Biggest dick in the UK, Alistair Gold. If you know, you know.
Best Spurs journo and biggest dick. What a compliment that is.
Put that in your fucking trophy cabinet.
Yeah, exactly. What?
There's not even enough room for it.
He shattered a trophy cabinet with that monster.
That fills the whole cabinet. And they can't even shut the door. But what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, Conte, so Antonio Conte, every time he'd have a press conference, it'd be so hostile, it'd be so threatening, and it would be like, I'm going to leave this shit club every time we lost, yeah? And imagine you're a player. You'd be like, well, fuck off then. Like, I don't want to play under you. Every time I lose, I feel like it's the be-all or end-all. And I feel like that's sort of been carried into this season with some of the results. It's the feeling of this is the be-all or end-all. But with Ange, it is not. This is a learning curve, and he's very aware of that. And it's just amazing. And it's amazing to see a vice captain retweeting stuff that your manager's saying. Like, everyone's on board, and it's really fucking exciting. Like, I cannot wait. And so, what do you think Conte would have been saying? Like, if he had a quote from this point, like, say he's the manager right now.
What if we lost 4 games in a row?
Yeah.
It'd be like, I am going to fucking leave. I think I'm too good for this shit. It'd be like, he'd probably walk out. Like,
yeah.
Through tough times like that. Tough times never last. Tough people last. And we are tough people. And like, Ange said it himself, like in that interview with the Aussie media, basically saying it's like, I know I've still got the players, knowing that he said he was honest. He was like, the players are hurting. Like, they are hurting.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah,
which is natural. You can understand.
It's a good thing.
But he was like, they know we're on the right path, and that's what's really encouraging. You could argue that he's going to say that anyway, so it might not mean anything. But I think not, and I think it's evident in what you were saying about Romero, like retweeting the like those quotes from Ange, and you can go through like his likes on Twitter, and it's just like he's so responsive to that sort of stuff, and just he's constantly like lapping up, and you could not. For me, like I know it was the supporters club one, so it's not the one because they sent around the members one. I voted for Romero as my player of the season. I think Van der Ven's deserving of it for sure, but I voted for Romero in the members or season.
How comes you think Romero's been?
I think Romero. It's hard to pull them apart, to be honest. If it's one of them, if it's not one, it should be the other. Let's face it, it's one of those two.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with Van der Ven, and it just shows how amazingly well we've taken to the Premier League. But I just think for the sea change for last season with Romero, like you're saying, that where we were at, I think he represents that out of the darkness into the light kind of thing that like most, more than kind of any other player. I'm not saying
a microcosm of the club almost, isn't he, Romero?
Yeah, I fucking love him, man. I absolutely, again, like last week, like arguably our best player again in 4-0. It's becoming hard to justify. Like, whenever I make a video about our defence and Romero, it's like, when you concede 60 goals, it's like, oh,
fucking shut up. Yeah,
shut up.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really positive. It is. And do you think Ange was a bit unlucky to not get voted for Manager of the Year?
I
mean, the nominees come out and he's not on it. And how good of a job has he done compared to the other managers there?
Compared to the other managers there, who is it again? It's Arteta, Emery, Guardiola, Iraola.
Fuck, I need to check. This is.
I think it's for me. No, I think it is. How many is there? There's 4 of them.
Okay.
I presume maybe Klopp. I don't know. I think for me, like Emery deserves it. I think basically, I think it should go.
It is Emery.
I think I hate to say this, I think if Arsenal win the league, it probably should be Arteta. If City win it, I think it should be Emery. Like I think it should be.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Like, you look at them last night. Like I know they lost to Olympiacos, but that was their 54th game of the year. And this is the thing of like we've really stumbled over the line in the last few weeks, but so have they. And it's only because we've had tough run. We've lost 4 games in a row. They if we were 4 points behind them instead of 7, you could even forget the City game and think, well, if we beat Burnley and Sheffield United, then we could pip them because they cannot score a goal at the moment and they can't keep them out either. But Emery's done an amazing job. They're just running out of puff, which does tend to happen with Emery teams. So it'd be very interesting to see what they're like next year.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine we get Champions League.
Yeah, but that happens quite a lot of Emery teams, though, doesn't it? It happened at Arsenal. It's happened at a lot where he's been. Where it's like the first season. It's not even his first season. It's his first full season at Villa, like where it's usually great, and then they really tend to tire and sort of struggle to get over the line. So it's a bit of a shame. But again, like going back to the Ange thing about if he should have been nominated. If we were on exactly the same points and had exactly the same results against those teams, but it was spread out across the season, and it was like we lost to Newcastle, but then we beaten Luton, whoever, or Forest, whoever the game before that was. If it was like lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, rather than like win, 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 draw, whatever it was, and then 4 losses, I think he'd probably be there. I think the optics. I think so. I think the optics are really important with this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and people remember how you finish, not really how you start. So it's like if those were dotted throughout the season, or even dotted through the last couple of months, then I think it'd be a bit different.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I don't need to see him recognised as some vanity thing for Manager of the Year. It's great, but we know the job he's doing. And it'd be one of those things where if he was nominated, people are like, well, why? There'd be so many questions about it.
Yeah.
But what you can't question is how we feel about him, which is the most important thing. No one should fucking tell you how you should feel about your football club.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, so I think like you got to think about context as well. He come into the season, and we've written off, but everyone in their fucking nan had written Spurs off for the season. People were saying we're going to finish mid-table. Obviously, we lost our greatest, most important player in Spurs history in Lucas Moura, and everyone thought we're fucked when he left. No, but everyone wrote us off, and he's just done a terrific job. And we have fallen off a little bit. But who would have thought Europa League and on to something really special, I think, and that feeling of, and you know what, I haven't seen, we've lost 4 games in a row, but you never seen those tweets that you saw with Arteta.
Hey, they were flying fucking planes over the stadium and shit like that.
Yeah, but also what I'm saying is the rival fans saying stuff like, "Please keep Ange, please." You don't see any of that.
Yeah, it's like with Ten Hag, where it's like, oh, they've won, but it's like, well, it keeps them in a job for another.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not seeing that.
You're not seeing that, and I think a lot of people are attentive to it. And the fact that we are getting mocked every time we lose just shows that I think people are worried and are waiting for us to, because they can see the potential this team has. Such a young team, and
right.
we're going.
With United, it's like they've lost. With United, it's like United lost again. Like Monday wasn't a shock, was it? Let's be real.
No, it wasn't at all. No.
Whereas with Spurs, it's kind of right. Like, and to be fair, like obviously, kind of doing what I do on TikTok and that, you open yourself up to people who don't support Spurs, and they will constantly comment. And sometimes I get more comments from Gooners than Spurs fans, and we're the ones who are obsessed with them apparently.
The touchy lot, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But do you know what? I do get quite a fair few from even Arsenal fans being like, look, even as an Arsenal fan, you should 100% keep Ange and stick with the project. Like,
100%.
It's funny to have that rival banter. And it's like, even with Arsenal, you could see that Arteta was going to be, like, it was funny to laugh at the time, but you felt like he was getting decisions right along the way in terms of like letting people go and stuff. And he's a fucking prick, and I hate him. But he deserved a lot of credit, and that's kind of what we're doing. We don't have as much like Deadwood to clear out and stuff like that. They were in a real mess. We weren't in a mess. We were just in a bad way, and it just needed someone like Ange to sort of come in and elevate it. There was stuff that had gone against us. Don't get me wrong, obviously losing Harry Kane and all that kind of stuff. And this was what was kind of annoying me about the comparison to like there was a thing going around of like, oh, Ange's got more points than Klopp and Arteta.
Yeah.
People were poo-pooing it, basically saying, but look at the squad that he's inherited compared to Klopp and Arteta, which is a fair point. But the overall point is it's not the squad he wants. That's not. It's clear that's not the squad he wants.
No.
So the players that were there at the time is kind of irrelevant. Like Arsenal still had quality. Liverpool still had quality. Liverpool were the worst. Their squad was a mess. I've been working on a video for the GOAT, James Lawrence-Alcott, for the JLA channel. We've done like a documentary on Klopp, and kind of going through the kind of years was actually quite like nice as a Spurs fan, because like they were, what he inherited and how he came in had a sort of similar attitude of being like, he said something at the end of his press conference when he joined Liverpool that was basically along the lines of like, I'll be remembered by what I do. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, he also said something about. Sorry, I'll cut you off. He said something about how we will win a league by in our fourth year or a third year, and it took him 4 or 5 years. It took him one extra year. That what he said. So, and that's along the lines of what Ange comes out and says.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find what he said. It was very kind of like almost the same sort of thing about like
Makes you feel a bit...
the fans, like how they feel about me, and
yeah,
that feeling is important, and like. You know, they needed that guy with that charisma, and they needed that to kind of get that feeling back, because Liverpool had sort of really gone through the motions over the few years before that. It's kind of the same as Spurs. We hadn't had that connection since Poch. They hadn't had that connection to their manager maybe since Benitez. And even though Rodgers nearly won them the league, that feeling was what did he say to Sterling? Where, do you remember the thing with the envelopes in that documentary? Where have you ever seen that? If anyone's not seen that, there's an amazing Channel 5 Liverpool documentary on Rodgers the manager. It's fucking weird. I'm so glad we never got it. Even though he almost felt destined for Spurs at one point.
He's he did. He's a proper David Brent. He's a great character.
He's a great character, Leo.
Great character. Anyway, sorry, that was a fucking tangent. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying that I think it's kind of going back and working on that was kind of almost a little bit like made me feel good about Spurs.
Gave you a bit of security.
Yeah, and look, Postecoglou naturally inherited a better squad than Klopp and Arteta did. But like I said, the most important thing is it's not the squad that he wanted. It's not the squad that Arteta wanted. It's not the squad that Klopp wanted. And that's what's more important to me rather than the actual quality that was there. Because you can have great players, but putting great players on a pitch doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like you have to. It's so much more that goes into that. So I'm not gonna sit here and just say that like, oh yeah, Ange was more fortunate because he inherited better players. Still got to make them play. And they have played. They have played. Not at the moment, but I think we'll see a bit of a bounce back tomorrow against Burnley.
Yeah. We're gonna talk. So we're gonna talk about backing Ange. Obviously that's the thumbnail of the video. But talking about Burnley, quick. We'll get through Burnley because 42 minutes in, we haven't actually talked about it.
To be fair as well, we're recording this the day before the game. I think we want this pod.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Evergreen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, also fuck Burnley shit.
Yeah, it's always bloody Burnley. But yeah, so
Burnley can fuck off.
That's the in-between, isn't
it?
Yeah. So a Company. This time last year, we were linked with Company. I think a lot of our fan base was on board with having a young manager like a Company, and like take us through to the next sort of like chapter and this on a process and grow with a young manager. In hindsight, it's kind of good. I think he never would have been ready for that job or any job. But I think he is being he's being smart with his choice.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him so far? Because obviously there was a chance he could have become the Spurs manager. What are your thoughts on him so far? And do you reckon, what's his ceiling? Do you reckon?
I like him, mate. I don't know whether he's naturally kind of by default obviously been linked with the City job in kind of the long term. It feels like he's almost been groomed for that a little bit. I don't see that. I don't see him being that caliber of manager. I really like what he stands for. I think he's got great principles. Like again, sort of similar with Ange in terms of like that unwavering kind of undying backing of his kind of style and like this is how I'm going to go about it. He's a strong character, which is what you need as a manager in the Premier League, because as we've seen, like managers who aren't strong and can't back themselves will get eaten alive. And I know Ten Hag has, like I said earlier, backed himself in terms of saying I am the guy and all this kind of stuff, and that we're playing some of the most attacking dynamic football in the league. It's just bullshit. Whereas like with Postecoglou and company, where it's not worked at times, I think there's still a lot of respect to be taken from what they're doing. I'm a big fan of company. Jacob Horsfall, who is a really good Burnley content creator on the come up, there's a lot of other really good stuff as well. Go and listen to him and subscribe to him. He's at points throughout the season, he's kind of been a little bit like, I don't know why company did this or I don't know why company did that. But I think what I get from him, and I think he's probably quite a good representation of the Burnley fan base, is that they are fully behind him and that they know they've got a good manager there that will probably go on to better things at some point, maybe. So I really like him. I'm a big fan of him. I was never a big fan of him for the Spurs job because I feel like he wasn't ready for it, maybe. But then again, did we think Postecoglou was ready for it? Probably not.
No. It was say no to Postecoglou. That was
Exactly. And do you know what? I think more people actually probably wanted Company because it was a bit more of a sexy name, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, aesthetically pleasing, not some like fat Aussie.
Yeah, exactly.
Some sort of Premier League legend.
You say that right about like Ange's aesthetic and the fucking maybe the suit was a bit too big for him and all that. But Company's gear, unbelievable.
Oh, it's all over the place, isn't it? All over the place. Make your mind up. Are you wearing a fucking suit or are you wearing like trainers, a hat, and a t-shirt?
And then the fucking baseball cap is unbelievable. Bear in mind, he's got like Megamind head as well.
That's probably why he has the cap.
Yeah, that's true. To be fair, that is true.
You'd think he's a great tactician because his brain's so big.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was the overlap with the stakeholder, the Burnley stakeholder. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Football. He
is it JJ what?
Yeah, I can't remember. Actually, probably know. Probably's in the chat.
Who's the guy?
But he made interesting points of they want to stick with Company because the parachute payment you get from getting into the Prem, seeing it, because they've got a young team playing good football, and if they stick to that principle, they're going to carry that on for the whole process. And the young team, so they get a taste of Premier League football, they drop down, they get the parachute payment, they steamroll the Championship again, they add to their team, and then they're ready, more prepared for the next time they come into the Premier League. And I think when they next come up to the Premier League, that's when you can truly judge Company, because I feel like he'll have a bit more tools. Yeah, JJ Watt, cheers, probably a legend. So I thought that's smart. They're not being erratic. They're not being reactionary. I think that's a smart run club, and they will reap rewards in the long term, and they're thinking ahead to that. But yeah, I think he'll have a good career. I do. With the game tomorrow, then, do you reckon there'll be any changes? Any changes that you think need to happen? Maybe Skippy left back. So Ange has come out saying that actually that change to Skippy playing left back was actually something practiced in training, obviously, because Ange even said he was aware Emerson is not a left back. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think we'll see that. I do think we'll see that. I know we were probably going to come on and talk about Richardson at some point, but apparently his season is over. Richardson.
Really? Fuck.
Yeah. So should we just talk about Richardson now?
Yeah, go on. Skippy, you had a lot of airtime.
Just to say, like Skippy, I back it 100%. And Ange's quotes about Skip earlier were quite revealing, actually, when he said that he definitely sees he's got a future at Spurs.
Yeah, I really like.
He said that he can't promise it. Obviously, he doesn't know, but like he said, he wants him to be part of the future, and he's had to be very patient, and it's sort of a lot of stuff we talked about in the last pod. So I'd like to see it, definitely. I think some fans maybe went a bit overboard with the performance, but I thought it was good. And made me feel, especially in a game at home against a lower side, that you're going to have more chance to get forward and get on the ball.
Get the fans behind you.
I was chatting about this with I know we said it wasn't going to talk about Skip, but I was chatting about this with Seb, actually, on the live that we do on weekly live on a Monday on TikTok. I think Skip is a much better technical player than people give him credit for, because he looks awkward.
Yeah.
I think he's actually very positive. And I think there's naturally those comparisons to Harry Winks, because it's like young English midfielder that came through Spurs Academy. Harry Winks is so tidy, and the aesthetic is there. Skip is a much better player going forward, I think. He might look a bit awkward in terms of his run, and it looks like he's going to let the ball go a little bit, and he's a little bit all over the place. But I actually think he's a lot more purposeful with what he does. I think he's a lot more positive in his mindset, which I really like. I'm a big fan of Skippy.
Plays with a lot of intensity as well.
Yeah, and if he does have this little sort of arc towards the end of the season, like I think we both said when we did the keep or sell that we'd definitely keep him, didn't we? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
So I would, I think hopefully this run towards the end of the season will further legitimise that and give him the kind of flowers that he needs. But so Richardson, I lost my rag earlier because I could not get my head around why he was not picked for the Copa America.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that was unbelievable. And then the Brazil manager came out and said that he's got a calf injury that no one knows, that Spurs haven't made public yet, even though Postecoglou said that we haven't got any fresh injury concerns in the press conference. And now David Ornstein has come out and said while we were recording that that Richardson's season looks to be over for Spurs, which is gutting. Mate, it's just let me just get it up here.
It is worrying, isn't it? It is.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't actually Ornstein, but it was from the Athletic. It might have been Jack Pitbrook.
Yeah, it's worrying, mate. It's so worrying how many fucking injuries has he had this season? And the thing is, I feel for him first of all because obviously he's gone through a lot of psychological battles and mental battles along the season, and fair play to him, he's overcome them a lot. But the constant setbacks, it's frustrating from all sets, from fans to him to probably Ange. Because we're not even playing in Europe this season, and you need that availability. You do. What are your thoughts on that then?
I'm gutted for him. I'm really,
yeah, me too.
Absolutely gutted for him. And do you know what I really didn't enjoy earlier, like on Twitter? And I know the Gooners are going to do it, but you know, Richardson reposted that TikTok of like him shoving Gabriel, and it was like Brazil's #1 striker versus their best centre back or their whatever it was. And all the Arsenal fans got onto him and like, oh no, you're not Brazil's #1 striker because you're not in the squad and all this bollocks. And it was like karma. This guy has been through hell and back with his mental health over the last kind of year. And he's been open and vulnerable. Him reposting a TikTok saying that he's Brazil's #1 striker, when it's come out now that he's not been dropped, it's that he's been injured. That we didn't know this at the time a few hours ago, so naturally they're going to jump on it. I get that. But it's pathetic. It's fucking embarrassing. And I'm gutted for Richie. I'm really, really gutted. And it kind of makes the question around what we do in the summer even harder. Because it's now like, the bloke just cannot stay fit. He's had an amazing run of games when he actually has played. No, I don't think any player in the Premier League has got more goals and less starts than him. I think it's 11 and 18. He's got the 4th best, I think, non-penalty goals and assist ratio in the Premier League all season out of any player. I'm absolutely gutted for him because you know how much he puts into this. And like, I had comments earlier on my video about Richardson being like, oh, he just walks around and mopes around and all this kind of stuff. His attitude is bad. That is a load of bollocks. That is absolute bollocks. He's been through hell and back over the last year. Opening up about, potentially wanting to end his life and stuff like this. It makes me really sad thinking about it. And, for Spurs, even in the short term, he came on, made a massive impact on Sunday at Liverpool. We need that number 9. We need that number 9. And Richardson, if he's fully fit and firing and confident, he can be that for Spurs. But it's just whether we're going to see that. Unfortunately.
But, so what do you think the fallout of this is? Because obviously he's picking up a lot of injuries. I think it's clear that we do need, even if we. The thing is, well, I think there's been rumours that it will go for a striker. It depends. So basically, Jack Pickbrook earlier today, and saying that. By the way, it's Richarlison's birthday today.
Yeah, exactly. Happy birthday, Richie.
Yeah, happy birthday, Richie. We love you. But yeah, Jack Pickbrook come out today. He said Spurs are going to be looking for a striker, a winger, centre mid or midfielder, and a right back. I will get onto that in a minute. But Richie, Paul O'Keefe has said that it depends on Richarlison almost. He thinks that if we'll go for a striker, there is a world though, and can you see a world where Richarlison stays? And we bring in a striker not of a similar caliber to sort of rotate, because there's going to be a lot of matches next season, and unless that striker we bring in is fit every single game and has no injury record, I've got what I was leading to, but do you know what I mean?
I think it makes it even harder, and I think now more than ever that they'll cash in on Richie in the summer.
Do you reckon we'll get like 60 minutes? It's been touted about that it might be the same money we bought him for.
I think they'll get close. I think they'll get close to the money back, but I don't think they'll get the money back. I think it'll be unrealistic if they do, to be honest. Because as much as I love him and as much as I think he's been brilliant this season, he's not been £60 million worth of player really at Spurs. So then they can't go and they're not going to sell him if they demand the money back. So, mate, I love him. I really love him, and I don't think the other fans get how important he is to us. But I think they'll sell him. I do think he'll move.
Yeah,
I think they'll want to clearly bring that striker in. The thing is, in the Premier League, as harsh as it is, you need to be robust, and unfortunately, Richardson just isn't that. Was he ever injured this much at Everton? Maybe he's just been really unlucky in the last couple of years. I know he wasn't like always, maybe not 38 games a season, but because didn't he in the run that he came, he saved them from relegation before he moved to us.
Yeah,
didn't he? I'm pretty sure he was injured and sort of played through an injury during that period. I might be wrong. I'm just getting up his stats.
Well, I feel like
he only played in that season. Sorry, he only played 30 games in the Premier League for Everton that year. He's played 28.
Okay.
This year.
So maybe this is an issue, isn't it? And when we look for future signings, we have to check injury records. We have to. We can't have players just coming in. I know Richie every time, like this season, he's really rectified from like last season, and like his form's it's been fairly consistent off like this year in 2024 when he has played. But he's just, his availability is a bit of an issue, and I feel, again, I feel for him. But if we can't get above 45 mil, there's an argument that we shouldn't sell him. I think we might end up doing it, but if we can get, say, a Dom Solanke for around 45 to 50 mil, Dom Solanke, if we can negotiate an offer for that, I think there's a Solanke, Richardson, and then Son as that third cover if the game sort of forces that change, or if they're injured, if they're unavailable. I think that's a really good like a couple of options, and they can battle each other for that striker position. But I don't know. I don't think it's realistic. I can't see Spurs doing it. So I don't know. It's a tricky one. So
we said it before. Like, you probably can't find many better backup strikers than Richardson either. But it's just not going to work like that, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. And you feel for him because he keeps overcoming these hurdles and things just keep being chucked at him. So hopefully he's back for pre-season, or there's a future there. And so the rumors about the transfer window, the striker, midfielder, winger, and right back, is that enough? Do you think that's is it? So if that happened, say that happens, would you then look at that and say, "Fuck me, Levy's really backed him here. Like, we're on something." Do you think that's enough for us to go up the next level? And what type of players would you what type of players do we need to get? Do we need to spend a lot of money for you to think we've backed Postecoglou, or is it the smart signings?
I think it's a mixture of both, because for the quality that we need, you do naturally need to spend money. But as long as Ange gets who he wants, that's backing to me. I'm not bothered about Spurs don't need to go and spend 250 million, although that would be nice. As long as Ange Postecoglou gets who he wants, that's him being backed, in my opinion. But I think the focus has got to be on real technical players, because I think there was a real technical players with confidence and bravery. And I know that's kind of asking a lot, but it's not asking a lot, but that's what you pay the money for.
Yeah,
that's what you pay the money for. That's your Eze's of the world. That's your Nico Williamses of the world. That's your Xavi Simons of the world. That's your in terms of that real quality. There's been a bit of a debate over the last couple of days about Kyle Walker-Peters, and I want to make a video on it on TikTok, because I think a lot of people have fawned themselves a little bit over it too much. He's a good player. He is a good player. Is that the level that Spurs should be going for?
No, I don't think so. Sure. Especially with our set piece history record.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, he's 27. He's been at the club before. I'm not saying I'd be against it, but I'm not sure that's as smart a sign as people are making it out to be. And I think we're only doing it because he's club trained and homegrown. That's what it is. Whereas I think you could probably promote someone in the academy and give them that chance. Maybe not a right back, who knows? But obviously, the thing that Kyle Walker-Peters does give you in terms of being smart is the fact that he can play right back and left back, and he has got a lot better quality on the ball than Emerson Royale. And it does sound like Emerson Royale will be moved on this summer.
30 mil, fucking hell. We can start Levy. That's him starting.
That's what he started. Did you see the tweet that was going around again? Where it was like, Barcelona still cannot believe that Spurs.
How do we get a fucking improve how would we make money on that deal? There's no way. No way.
No, but I think it's got to be real technical quality. Whether that comes from the La Liga, or whether that comes from the French league, like these top clubs, or whether that comes from someone in fucking Denmark, who knows? I just think that, like I said, Ange being backed is about him getting who he wants. That's all I care about. As long as it comes out, and I know that you could say that he's only saying that to appease people, but if there's press conferences throughout the summer and we sign players and he goes, "Yeah, I really wanted this guy," that's fine by me. And then it kind of legitimizes what he wants to do as well. Because if further down the line it doesn't work, then you can say, well, actually, maybe that he's even not the guy, or maybe not as great as we thought he was going to be, or we got this one wrong, etc. But as long as he gets who he wants in this summer, then I'm fine with it. But naturally, to do that, to add that quality that he's talking about and making those upgrades, you will need to spend money. I think the more it goes on and the more you kind of see Crystal Palace clicking the way they are, a Emery Eze for me, it's just, I know we've sort of flip-flopped a little bit on the pod about like how well he'd be suited and stuff like that, but in terms of what he brings and the way that he plays and the way that he can be moulded to play in different positions, I just think he's perfect.
So I think the three boxes they have to tick is probably saying got Mark Nesbitt's attention. The three dribbly
winger. Mark wants a dribbly winger. He has done since the start of the season.
Yeah. Nathan A. Clark, fucking his ears are
Picked up.
he heard that. Yeah. That's it.
Boy.
But yeah, so the three boxes I think players that we're bringing in have to tick are maybe versatility,
Yeah.
personnel. I think they all have to be big. Like, I do think that's the meta. I think that's the thing to do now when you're looking at how teams are capitalizing on set pieces again. And it's there's almost been like a full cycle of getting big players in and bullying teams again, and in but big players with technical ability. And then three, technical, like you said, really like technical players, and they're essential. And so we haven't been linked to Xavi Simons, but he's a player that we have been linked to in the past, and he looks to be available again for a loan, possibly a transfer in the future.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because is that signing necessary?
Yes.
You think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be upset. Don't get me wrong. I won't be upset if we don't get him. But
that type of player, that versatile, can play in that Maddison position, can play on the wing, either side.
Yeah, mate, he's unreal. I cannot believe that PSG did not want him as part of this rebuild, in the kind of post Mbappe era. I cannot get my head around that. He is an unbelievable player, and I know that wasn't he at Barcelona when he was a kid?
Yeah. He come through the ranks.
It did come through the ranks there. It didn't quite work out, but Barcelona want him back. He wants to go there. If they can't make that happen, Spurs should be all over it. Apparently, Premier League clubs are interested. We asked to be kept monitored of his situation last summer. Apparently, PSG were like willing to offer him plus cash for Harry Kane at one point.
Yeah.
Maybe you think, going back to that, I'm thinking we fucking should have done that. Like, whether that's just paper talk or not, who knows? It never sounded legit, did it really? But
sounds like a FIFA deal.
Yeah, exactly. This ain't
career mode.
But apparently we were asked to be kept across him. But again, naturally, you're going to do that with one of the best young talents in the world, which I think Simons is. He's got so much ability. He's got that little jink. He can go side to side. He's got real end product as well. It's just like, I love him. I'm a massive fan of him. So if he's available, I think Harry Brooks said this earlier on Twitter as well. It's like, if he is available, like, that is the player that Spurs should throw money at. Whether it's realistic or not, that is the guy you go for. Why can't we? Let's be honest. I know Xavi Simons has got a bit more of hype around him because he's been playing in where's he been this season? At Leipzig and obviously PSV.
PSV, Barcelona Academy.
Yeah, he's got ties to PSG and Barcelona. Like, if we're being linked with the Emery Ezes of the world, who are older but are probably equally as good at this point, then why can't we go and get Xavi Simons?
Yeah.
Why can't we? Why is it mad to think that Spurs are living in a world we can't go and get him?
A loan plus option to buy is Spurs written all over it. Spurs written all over it. And also, he's a leader. He led Barcelona's academies. I'm pretty sure there was maybe when he was at PSG, because I think he wasn't straight into the PSG. He weren't. He got bought for a lot of money for the PSG academy. I'm pretty sure Lucas Bergvall and his academy played against Xavi Simons and PSG. And there was that speech of Lucas Bergvall screaming in his team talk pre-match and saying, like, we can beat, and they beat him. And imagine a future where Xavi Simons and Lucas Bergvall are playing in the 2-8s. Bergvall is that box to box. Xavi Simons as that in that Maddison role. I mean, fuck me, that's ridiculous, and the potential there is scary. And I think he can cover multiple positions. I think we need a dribbly winger, like you said.
Yeah,
and we need that creativity, and he can bring that in. He's so versatile; he can bring that in different areas of the pitch. But what I believe we need, I think we need about 6 players. I think we need that holding midfielder, that I say Mats Wi-Fi, or that Zubimendi, that sort of ball playing anchor. Because if we have that, I think Bissouma could maybe play as a number 8. And that would be a lot of security in the midfield if Bissouma has someone that is a bit deeper, a bit more of a destroyer next to him. Actually, I was thinking about that today. Why can't we have a world where Bissouma can play number 8? He did that for Brighton.
He never really plays that lone 6, that sort of single.
And that was him at his best. And maybe there is an area to sort of, there's a bit of leeway there in the midfield that can make it click and make us solid and have a bit more of a solid foundation, protect the back four a little bit more, especially when Porro and Udogie burst forward. And I think we need a right back. And obviously that's what Jack Prickbrook said. I think we need a centre back that can play on the left, like a Calafiori. And I think we need a target man, but the wingers are interesting. If we can pick up a Xavi Simons to occupy the attacking midfield and the wing, and then go for a winger not spend a mental amount. I mean, Nico Williams is 43 mil release clause. We're linked with Rafinha. I think that would work if he's 35 to 40 mil. I think he's
Yeah.
if you have that balance. Harry Brook was making a great point on the Fighting Cock. Check that episode out because
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
And yeah, Harry Brooks was saying how the technical players will help us in defence because they will because it's so one pace at the moment at Spurs where it will get to Johnson, it will get to Werner, and they're quite erratic with the ball. Whereas players like Xavi Simons, so I'm going to name a few players that play across that that sort of wing and eights that we have been linked with. So starting with Goodmanson from Genoa, Eze. Elise is a player I'm sure we're looking at. I don't know if that's realistic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Xavi Simons is that sort of mold. Probably saying Jack Grealish. There's Danny Olmo. There's players like this.
Danny Olmo. Gary's made a good point there. I don't know how true this is or not, but he said we apparently had representation at the last 3 Leipzig games. Hence our media throwing darts and everyone playing from Olmo, Sesko, Simons, etc., and Simakan as well. We were linked with Simakan a few weeks ago, weren't we?
Yeah, we were for that sort of but what I'm saying was that sort of player that comes in can either go to the byline or have the creativity and the technical ability to say, hang on, let's just keep the ball here and understand the game. I think we need players that just read the game and read almost play the game. What's the game telling me to do, and not just
that's a great point.
Yeah, and just not have that tunnel vision.
I think that's what Grealish. Sorry, just to cut you off. That's what Grealish and Eze I think do so well, because I think that everyone's kind of got in their mind about having this really quick, pacey winger that can take people on and go either side. Sometimes you don't need that. Slowing the game down is all right. Eze and Grealish do that really, really well. They play the kind of game at their own pace because, like you said, they recognise what's going on around them and really open up the pitch, and they'll just recycle if they need to. Spurs haven't really got that. Kulusevski does do that on the other side, but Kulusevski, isn't playing in the greatest way at the moment.
Low on confidence.
Too bad Liverpool, but low on confidence. But you can't afford to have someone like Kulusevski in the team and then someone quite one-dimensional on the other side as well. You kind of need that balance of someone who maybe slow it down and hold the ball and recycle, and then someone who's going to be that bit more of a maverick and a bit more like a Simons is perfect for that because he does like to do things out of the ordinary, but he's very intelligent as well. But same as Eze, really. You can afford to have Eze and then maybe someone like a Johnson on the other side who is actually that bit more direct and wants to attack the space. And that space ball is more likely to open up if you've got someone like Eze at the heart pulling the strings, overlapping with Maddison and Udogie, sort of interchanging in that little pocket on that left-hand side, pulling defenders all over the place. And then you've got someone like Johnson who, again, we saw it at Anfield playing on the left, really not confident on that side, is he? Really, really not confident.
No.
But if you've got the way you get the best out of Johnson is by having someone like that.
Yeah, 100% shifts the whole back line, that whole their defensive foundation over to that side and leaves the gaps to get into those spaces that Johnson's so good at doing.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think about Morgan Gibbs-White? What do you think about, because those links will be inevitable, won't they? Because
of course, homegrown and
potentially relegated, even though they'll probably be all right. Forest. What do you think about that? Because
I'd rather. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, go on. No, I've not been like massively. I really like him, but I don't think you need him.
I'd rather spend like a 25 mil on Hudson-Odoi than go like 50 mil for a Gibbs-White. But I think Hudson-Odoi's he's had a bit of a redemption arc. If we're signing a homegrown player out of Nottingham Forest, it should be Gibbs-White's very. So I was talking to a Forest fan who was saying that he's quite inconsistent. We only get to see the best of him.
Maybe saying this.
And I just think he's young and he presses immensely. He's not a luxury player because he's very silky, but he works so hard for the team. But and he's got the creativity. But again, he can only really occupy one position. When you're thinking about an Eze or the players we've just named, maybe even a Sule from Juventus on loan at
Frosinone.
There's other players like Sudakov we're linked with. Those sort of players, they can drift out wide, they can play out wide, and they can play in the middle. And that versatility saves us from spending ridiculous amounts of money. And I just think Gibbs-White isn't versatile enough. I just don't think he is. But
I agree.
I just think. I mean, City won the treble without having a pacey winger. City won, and they had Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Grealish and Foden. There's no real like pacey threat in there. It's
No, you've got
controlling
players who
the
can
game,
burst away,
game state. Yeah.
Exactly. Control is what we miss at the moment. That's really what we lack, that we did have in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Well, certainly in the first sort of 10 games. We're not. We said this after Liverpool, and I think this is kind of what Harry was getting at as well on the Fighting Cock, is that there was a real disconnect between the back four or back five, if you include Basuma in that dropping in, and then the rest of the team. We were just giving up the ball so much in that final third because we don't have everything up to Basuma was great for me on Sunday. I know we made mistakes at the back, but in possession. But you need people that are just going to like, right, I'm not going to dart in, but I'm just going to keep the ball. And we didn't keep the ball in Liverpool's half enough at all when we had the opportunity to do so. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think you're completely right. I think that's what we need. I think Simmons is quite similar. When you talk about that City dynamic, I think Simmons is quite similar to Foden.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Bernardo Silva, those players that are sort of just going to like float between the pockets. They've got the burst of pace to go away from players, but it's not their game. It's not the main facet of their game. They can be devastating in real small moments.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He works really hard as well. Obviously, the potential on him is scary. Potential in an Ange system is even scarier. And I think it's a no-brainer, especially if we can get him on a loan. I think we need to make this happen. Ange, get on the phone, because it allows us to then go and spend more money on a maybe another out-and-out winger or that big striker, or it allows a bit more leeway in the transfer market without spending ridiculous amounts of money. I think it's a perfect signing for this project, and I think it needs to happen. But yeah, so Nico Williams, apparently there's rumours coming out that he wants 300k a week. I didn't realise he was on 200. I didn't fuck that. I didn't realise he was on 200k at Atletico Bilbao since signing his new contract. Would you move on, and if so, who from that out-and-out winger?
What would I move on from Nico Williams?
Yeah, from if he does want 300 grand a week, because Sonny's not even on that. We don't do that.
Yeah, that is. I can't see it being 300k.
That's a red flag if it is, no?
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't be surprised if Williams doesn't move because of that. Because what team is? I really like him. I'm a big fan of him. But what team is going to pay that wage?
Yeah, it's such a gamble. On a 5-year, that'd be such a Chelsea signing, wouldn't it? It actually would be maybe Chelsea. He's linked with Chelsea as well. But like I said, Rafinha, I think is a good alternative if maybe we have another player that can control the game a bit more on the other side. Because I think Rafinha presses a lot. Like, he's so electric, non-stop. I think he'd be really good. So I think that would be enough. Those sort of players would be enough for me to think, okay, fuck me, we backed Ange here. This is a really positive sign, and for me to get excited for next season. We have Torres Hall. And Gary's saying thoughts. We're willing to go hard on Gallagher, Morgan Gibbs White, Williams, and Jimenez.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's true, I think I don't really see the point in signing Gallagher and Gibbs White. I mean, that's just that overkill, I think. And
surely that's one or the other. If they don't, we're going to go for both, and if they don't get one, then they'll go for one of the others. I wouldn't be surprised if that is true.
Yeah.
Jimenez, I'm not. Again, like I said, if Spurs sign a striker, it needs to be an upgrade on Richardson. I'm not seeing that Jimenez. Gallagher, do you know what? The Gallagher thing, I think I've actually come around to it again. I'm not going to lie.
Full 360, yeah. Well, because he's quite technical, isn't he? And he presses so much, and he, again, a leader.
I think you're seeing a lot better at him at Chelsea now as well, playing that double pivot with Caicedo. I think they've really found a nice balance there. Maybe Chelsea's best midfield is without Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah.
Because that what is before it is quite nice. It's quite nice. Gallagher, Palmer, Madueke, and obviously Mudryk isn't great, but that feels right at Chelsea now. And maybe they've got the best out of Gallagher. It's still, makes it even more bonkers as to why you feel like he's going to move on. But
yeah. Well, they're sort of forced their hand. So Torres Hall signed a new 5-year contract today, and how important is that, considering City rumored to sign him, and do you see him getting game time next year?
Potentially, yeah. I said this in a video earlier. I'm a big fan of Tyrese, and his pathway to the first team is actually quite a bit clearer than some of the other young players who maybe there is a lot more excitement about. But people who watch the 21s regularly know what Tyrese Hall brings. I think he could play as that number 6. I think he could play anywhere, really. I think sort of what you were saying about Basuma. Anywhere in midfield, like what you're saying about Basuma, about you could push him that little bit further up. He's a really good ball carrier, really technical, nice, short, sharp 1-2 passing. doesn't want to hold on for it for too long, except when he's carrying the ball and driving you forward with real purpose. I'm a massive, I'm a big fan of him, and I think I think those that know this is a really big deal for Spurs. I saw his mum put out a nice thing on Twitter. Did you see that?
No.
Where it was like it was like saying about how like 10 years ago, when he was a kid and when he coming through, like there was offers from Chelsea, Spurs, and Arsenal, but he went with his heart and chose Spurs. 10 years later, I don't know how long was left on his contract, but it seemed as if it was running down. And there was a lot of big clubs apparently circling for Tyrese.
Yeah.
So,
City, apparently. You've had a bit of back and forth with him as well,
mate,
on socials.
He's my boy.
Spill the beans.
I know he follows me on Twitter and on Instagram, and
he commented on your TikTok.
He commented on my TikTok earlier. He did, yeah. Mate, Tyrese is quality. I've got the fucking Jamie Donnelly follows me on Twitter as well. Just get him on the pod.
You're massive, mate. You massive. Yeah, get him on a pod. Yeah, get him on the pod.
George Abbott. Contract as well. That kind of around the radar a little bit because he played for Spurs last year, last game of the season. Remember?
Yeah, him and Matthew Craig. So
Matt Craig's apparently having a really good season.
Doncaster. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the little TikTok clips of him. But so what's interesting about what you're saying about Tyrese Hall? That what we were saying, him playing maybe utilised with someone when he's introduced, with someone a bit more security, because
I think him and Basuma could work really nicely together.
Yeah. I think he needs someone else.
But I think having like them two together, or even Bentancur maybe, but I think that could work nicely.
I just don't know if it's. I don't know if it's fair unless we play in the Europa League and we have the security of and confidence to bring on like youngsters, like we probably will be. But I think we shouldn't isolate players in their first few games in professional football in that number 6 role, because that is most hardest, isolated, most loneliest position on the pitch in this system. So I think if we have if we can maybe start him as a number 8, or maybe shift to a bit more of a double pivot, and it might compensate him really well, and then he can sort of grow into the role and then gain that confidence to then play as that lone number 6 or number 8. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Gary makes a good point here, saying about loads of promise. He needs minutes though. Drives me mad when we don't blood our kids. He'd start at Brighton and Brentford, etc., and Pep would give him minutes.
I think he would.
I think he would, yeah, because I think I've kind of been very much like supportive of what Ange has been doing with the youngsters, and I think that it's important not to rush them in. And he's kind of given dribs and drabs. And who knows? We could be talking and doing the pod on Monday, and Mikey Moore's come on and played a few minutes against Burnley. We don't know, but again, towards the end of the season, you're more likely to kind of get those sort of handouts. But I don't have a massive problem with the fact that Spurs haven't blooded these youngsters in that much this year. If it's next year again, I will have a problem with it, because like Gary says, that like I said this before about City, it's almost easier to go in at a better club because the structure is, especially at City, when they've been doing what they've been doing for so long under Pep, and it's just about, right, you're just going to be that next piece. You're going like Rico Lewis, good example. Like, how do we know that Rico Lewis isn't more talented than someone like Tyrese? Like, how do we don't know that? Like,
they got the complete team to sort of integrate him into the team, but there's not as much jeopardy or risk, and he's not going to look as exposed because he has Rodri playing with him, Diaz playing with him, Walker playing, all these experienced heads that have done it all. We're dealing with a young team as well.
Exactly. That's a really important point. And again, I'll go back to Liverpool, and look, they were kind of forced their hand in doing that. But yeah, I get people's frustration. Hopefully we'll see it next season. I think what we will see with Ange in pre-season is giving all of these kids a massive, real chance. And then I said this the other day, like, I think our loan process next year will be quite similar to this year. And I think we'll kind of wait on a lot of players and then send them out on loan in January, maybe. But yeah, no, I'm buzzing for Tyrese. My mate now, so yeah, I mean.
Yeah. But Gary's saying, yeah, you mate. Get him on. He can, get him on and look.
Do you reckon anyone would? It's so hard to get professional football players on podcasts.
They'd have to go through all the sort of club permission, all this stuff, if they're going to like. They must do. It has to be like a big process. But yeah, I mean, Gary's saying, imagine a midfield 3 of Hall, Bergvall, Donnelly, and more on the wing, Langstroth. Like there's such a potential there. It's scary, but we just have to. We need to know the right, appropriate time to then integrate them in. And
it's not
because
easy.
You can't just expose. They're fragile when it comes to their confidence. And when you're playing and when you're a youth player making that step up, every game, like if you have a bad game, that will in their head that will feel like their last ever game because if they play well, it does work out well, and you look amazing as a manager that you've had the ambition and the confidence to play a youth, like a young player in the team, and it pay off. But if it doesn't, it's hard to bounce back at such a young age from horrible moments, from those sort of negative experiences, and it stays with you. So it's all about doing it at the right time, and Europa League's the perfect sort of like segue into introducing those players. So Destiny Udogie, really quick, we'll finish up because it's been a bit of a long pod, so thanks for staying with us. But Destiny Udoggie's obviously been nominated for Young Premier League Player of the Year. He's not going to win it, but how the hell could he?
Yeah,
but how the hell?
It's the fan voted one, isn't it? It's like the Premier League one. So all you need to do is Destiny Udogie is a massive Taylor Swift fan. Get all the Swift.
Yeah, with the Taylor. You should actually do that. You should actually do it.
Destiny Udogie actually loves. I don't know what her latest album is. Ask Catherine. Catherine, we'll get Catherine. I ain't got to play my Mexican. Let's get Catherine.
Yeah, get her on. But yeah, so Udogie, I mean, it's amazing how he's managed to, from left back, come into a new league at such a young age, boss it, and be nominated for Young Player of the Year. I mean, what is his potential? Because it's fucking scary. And obviously, and whilst I asked you that, touch on Van der Ven as well, because we didn't really cover him properly, being our player of the season.
Yeah, so Van der Ven, Van der Ven's been named the Supporters Club's player of the season, which is great. Destiny Udogie, obviously Young Player of the Year in the Premier League. It's amazing for Udogie. And again, like people go back to it saying Spurs have conceded so many goals and all this. But Destiny Udogie has been brilliant and arguably been the best left back in the Premier League. And you can see the mess that we're in now without him. And again, it's without Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
Udogie, but he is so important to us. And I really hope he comes back. And I think he's going to come back stronger and even better next year. I'm excited for V2 of Destiny Udogie. I think so. Excited for the bigger and better version of him because he's only going to get better. Udogie. Yeah. Like, if he's playing like this now, he's only going to get better. So, who will win it? I don't know. The Young Player of the Year thing's a mess, mate. Absolute fucking mess. Udogie deserves to be there. Isak is 25 this year. He's going to be 25 in a few months. That is just scandalous.
Yeah, actually, Gary makes another really good point. Actually, saying Van der Ven, because obviously we'll get into Van der Ven, but Van der Ven was the cheap option, wasn't he? And he's sort of saying it in an ironic way.
Everyone taps over, didn't they?
Well, exactly, but it kind of gives me then like stuff like that. It gives me confidence this summer that and where we won't be as reactionary. Remember the fucking reaction to Vicario? Paul O'Keefe saying we're looking at a keeper called Vicario instead of Raya. Everyone was like, who the fuck? Everyone went mental. They couldn't believe it. And so I'm more confident going into the summer. We're a little bit more laid back. If we miss out on a big target, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm kind of who's next. And I mean, but anyway, sort of went on a tangent there, but it was a good point.
Oh, you're right, mate.
What were you saying about Van der Ven?
Just fucking quality, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all we need to say.
We should also, before we end, we should. What am I saying so hard to get my words out? Spurs women FA Cup fucking final on Sunday.
Yeah. You were at the game as well, weren't you?
I cannot wait.
Back-to-back games.
I cannot wait. What an unbelievable achievement to get this far. Like we talked about this on the pod after the semi-final. It's amazing how they've got it. Only been professional for 5 years, from semi-pro to playing at fucking Cheshunt to get into this point. They deserve it. They deserve it so much. And Ange was talking about earlier how amazing it is for football club, and we could win it. Like there's not much between Spurs and Man United. Unfortunately, Spurs. For people who listen to this who don't really watch Spurs women, so Grace Clinton has been arguably Spurs' best player of the season. She's on loan from Man United. She's been nominated for WSL Player of the Season as well. She's only 20. She's amazing, really good midfielder. She's cup tied, which is gutting, so she can't play on Sunday. But I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win. And what an amazing achievement that would be to go from semi-pro to FA Cup winners in 5 years. That is just an amazing story. There's a brilliant documentary for anyone that's got Spurs play. They don't really put a lot of good shit on there, but I think it's from it's called like From Broxbourne to maybe it's to Wembley or something like that. It's basically a documentary from sort of detailing the rise of Spurs women and some of the important things along the way. Like Gary just said there about Ashley Neville. Ashley Neville's been at Spurs through everything, really. And she's amazing. Gary's right. How she's never really been considered England is mental. So experienced, so quality. And I can't wait to go. I'm going with my mum. Me and my mum go to a lot of the women's games together. And it's going to be a quality day. So if anyone is going down there, I'll see you at Box Park at about 12 o'clock.
It'll be quality.
I think Spurs are doing a thing there before, but make sure if this is your first, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched Spurs women before, there's no better time to do it than a fucking FA Cup final and get behind them at Wembley. If you go in, hopefully see you there. But I'm really proud of the team and buzzing for it. So looking forward to it.
Big weekend. And then before we finish today, I just want to say, come on, Manchester United.
Come on, the Red Devils.
Support Manchester.
Oh, Manchester. United.
So.
Come on, United.
Come on, please do us a fucking favour, please.
You saw. Shall I sing us out? We don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe to Darren and Dylan.
Yeah, subscribe, and then Ben's gonna sing us out. But actually, quickly before you start singing, do you reckon United could do it? I've got a real tingle in my balls.
Even a draw fucks.
Yeah, a draw. No, I'm thinking a draw. A draw does fuck them.
Do you know what it reeks of? And I think James said this on Jaffin yesterday. It reeks of that United-Liverpool game, doesn't it? 2-2.
Yeah.
Arsenal have all the chances, but United somehow out of nowhere. Martinez is back. Rashford's back.
Okay.
Rashid.
El Butcher. The thing is, the Ten Hag always does this. His job's on the line, and they come up against a team where they look like they're going to get spanked, and he'll set up like prime Sam Allardyce and snatch a result. And I'm actually feeling a little optimistic. I could just hear Gary Neville being like, "Oh my word, what
I can't believe it!
I can't believe it. He's so he looks absolutely beaten, Mikel Arteta. He's going to be like,
I can't speak.
Oh, that's going to be it. When Rashford rounds David Raya. Raya goes up for the corner, or they're all up for the corner. Rashford rounds him, and Gary Neville goes, "Oh, unbelievable!" I actually think, I could jinx it. Touch wood. But
if City beat Fulham tomorrow lunchtime, Arsenal drop points, City could win it on Tuesday.
Go on, sing us out, Ben. Sing us out.
Blue moon, you saw me standing alone.
It's actually quite good.
I can't remember the next bit.